8 p.m. Eastern on the Sire Studios digital network. SecretsOfTheSire.com, YouTube.com/Sire Studios, Facebook.com/Secrets of the Sire, Twitch.tv/Secrets of the Sire. You can find our podcast on all major podcasting apps: Spreaker, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Anchor, you name it, we're out there. I am your host, Michael Dolce, as always joined by my co-host extraordinaire, Mr. Hassan Godwin, Lord of the Live Stream. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing good. Thank you.
Well, we are joined in studio.
I couldn't come
tonight.
up with any snark in time for that, so I'll just have to go with good.
We are joined in virtual studio tonight by a recurring guest host who demanded he come on because he's seen Darren
Who is he
Sanchez.
to demand from us?
Look,
Who is he?
Darren Sanchez and Jeff Gomez, and even Fabian Nicieza has now surpassed him in guest.
That's true.
So, Mr. Pat Shan, writer extraordinaire, how you doing, sir?
I'm well. I want to contest your numbers, though. You know, I feel like not only am I the most requested guest, right? I'm also. I mean, I've done the show 27 times, right? So I don't think so.
Is that fuzzy, man?
I don't think so, Fabian. Okay. I don't think so. Okay.
Did you create Deadpool? No.
Yeah, that's hinky. That math is a little hinky.
We appreciate it, though. I like the wonky math. All right, tonight, no Watchmen season 2. Batwoman comes out again. We do a quick Bloodshot trailer, truth or trash, with the real question being, why are more people not talking about the Bloodshot movie? And we are spinning the comics to movies racks. But first, we're going to start out with Oscar Isaac headlining the Ex Machina movie, which, by the way, is called The Great Machine. It's from birthmoviesdeath.com. Oscar Isaac of Rise of Skywalker fame, along with, he was also in that god-awful X-Men Apocalypse movie.
Oscar Isaac's has been around for, he's been in everything. You can't really just prattle off, one or two of his credentials. He's well-known.
He is well-known, yes. He will be headlining Brian K. Vaughan and Tony Harris's Ex Machina, one of the best reads of the past decade, according to Birth Movies Death, which I actually concur. He will be playing Mitchell Hundred, who becomes the superpowered mayor of New York City. The movie is now called The Great Machine, only because there was a movie called Ex Machina, and they don't want to, confuse the two. It's an award-winning series. It made it to the adaptation process, and it will be out. My only thing on this, great series, by the way. Has everyone read it? Pat, have you read?
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, it's there's actually one of the first.
No, I got nothing.
Yeah, it's great.
It is very 9/11 though, and I mean that not in a bad way. Just the whole kind of I don't want to call it shock value, because nothing Brian K. Vaughan, while is shocking, is done for just shock value. Right. It was the first series. It was the first anything I feel like to deal with 9/11. It came out I think in 04 or 05, and the spoiler alert, the cliffhanger to it was, that Mitchell Hundred, who was a superhero at the time, actually saved one of the towers, and it was kind of controversial in its own right, just for even touching upon that.
Yeah.
I mean, we have no idea what this is going to be, but I mean, I guess it's got to be kind of similar. I mean, is it going to have that same kind of impact?
Oh yeah. I mean, I'd be shocked if they didn't have the same scene. That's one of the defining scenes of the whole series,
Yeah.
And I mean, plus, people even outside of the superhero genre, and I'm not saying that this book does this, but people love historical tragedy porn, people watch all these movies about, Pearl Harbor, people would rather see, a black actor win an award for a slave movie than, enjoy fucking Bad Boys, people love just seeing sad moments of history. And now that superheroes are the dominant genre of film, we're going to start seeing those two merge. And at least this is a good story,
Hassan, why have you not read this? That's it. You're fired.
All right.
He's really leaving now. That's it. He's done. That's it.
Actually, can I say it's kind of I kind of miss you two being in the same room together. You guys usually have this sort of heat between you, if you know what I mean. You know, this like pulsating tension between the two of you.
What do you mean?
And,
Wow.
and now
we're apparently tensionless now.
I know. We have no tension.
Sharing a screen. You know, it's like.
I was allowing you to finish your spiel about how this comic book that I have absolutely no interest in is one of the greatest comic books ever made. So I was letting that cook a little bit, you know.
I more mean the physicality of this, you know.
Oh,
yeah.
Well, we miss being in the room with you because that beard.
I don't.
That beard alone.
Yeah, that beard we'd be competing with the beard right now.
I know.
Actually.
I know.
It's taking up a lot of room in the room.
All right, another big story that just hit. This was a dead week. See, we've been flirting with these dead weeks for a while now, and I think it's finally hit us.
Don't flirt with your weeks. That's the problem.
I know.
Leave your weeks alone.
It's here. Ruby Rose's Batwoman comes out as gay on CW show. Ruby Rose's Batwoman just told Gotham City the truth about her sexual orientation. Sunday night's episode of the CW series Batwoman planted a rainbow flag for the representation cause as Batman's cousin, Kat Kane, told the world that she's a lesbian crime fighter. I'm a big fan of canon.
Did she come out as Batwoman? Or did she come out as lesbian Batwoman?
Yeah.
You know, like what's the come out? Did she come out to Gotham as Batwoman, that she is Batwoman, or that she's a lesbian?
The mid-season premiere episode was written by showrunner Caroline Dries and depicts Rose's caped crusader opening up about her sexuality, even though it might jeopardize her secret identity. The choice wasn't an easy one, but the hero made it after hearing the heartache of a teen character whose parents have refused to accept her sexual identity.
Okay. It's kind of a non-starter because she was
well,
her sexual orientation was very clear from episode 1. I mean, I guess the headline is that she actually just told the rest of Gotham.
Correct. Yes.
But I mean, it's not like that. It's not like she came out to the audience because we all pretty much.
Also, you know, I'm a big fan of canon, right? I'm a big fan of like anything that kind of happens in the comics and then they bring it onto screen. Like I'm a big fan of that. So yeah, for the rest of us, we're kind of like, but we kind of knew she was a lesbian already.
Yeah,
so.
Exactly.
So, yeah, but hey,
I mean, it was kind of momentous when Tony Stark announced he was Iron Man because the trope is that every superhero has a secret identity. You know, like that's the ongoing through line. So the fact that he just went public with "I'm Iron Man," you know, was kind of a unprecedented ending to it. But you know, if the character is already gay, and we know the character is gay. And then she comes out to Gotham, and she lets Gotham know that she as a superhero persona is gay.
Mm-hmm.
That's important in canon, but it's not. I mean, I don't know why it's a headline.
Slow week, Pat. Are you watching? Are you watching any of the CW shows?
No, and I mean they seem
but he's
enjoyable.
not fired, right? He's okay. He's still in.
He's just a guest. Okay. I can click him off anytime I want to.
Yeah, all right. I get it now. I see how it all works. I see how it all works.
I wouldn't say
I know why, too. I know why.
You know?
Making innuendos. I'm making you innuendos.
Yeah, you know, like, I'm not just a guest.
He's privileged to be here.
The, most...
Yeah, this is your 39th time on the show, isn't it?
Yeah, it's my 47th time. And, yeah.
By the time the show is over, he's going to be the show. Like,
it's going to be
we're the guests. We're the guests.
Yeah.
Like the Pat Shandower.
About these shows, though, you know, I haven't seen any of them. But I will say, you know, it's cool to have a gay superhero who's out, but also anyone who looks at Ruby Rose once knows, you know? So it's like she's coming out doubly just by being there, you know?
I just watched. Are you guys Curb Your Enthusiasm fans by any chance?
Controversial.
What?
Do you watch Curb Your
Enthusiasm? You know?
Do you watch Curb Your Enthusiasm? Anybody?
Yeah, I've seen it before. Yeah.
On occasion, I've seen a couple episodes.
There's an episode, so I'm trying to catch up because there's a new season out. And last season, he gets his hair cut by this woman who's a lesbian. She's talking about her lesbian wedding that's coming up, and he goes, "How does that work?" And she goes, "Well, I'm going to be the bride." I'm going to walk down. He goes, "I don't get bride vibe from you." Like, no. Yeah, there's a whole.
Yeah, but he's not the guy you should be emulating socially.
Amazing.
He's not the guy you should be following.
Pat Shane just Larry Davided.
No, you know, I would say I wouldn't say I've Larry Davided, but the thing is that I've met lesbians, right?
Oh, it's gonna get worse.
Pat, there is nothing you can say that Hassan won't make it seem as if you are a misogynist, racist, homophobe. That's what.
God!
That's
Hold
what Hassan
on, that's
does.
gonna be me. That's what Hassan does. Okay,
He will
right.
make you feel uncomfortable and awkward about it, trying to explain yourself, even though you're trying to do the exact opposite of everything.
I have saved the show a number of times by letting everybody know that we are socially conscious, while you pontificate on the side fringes there about all these social things that you just quite don't get, and you wonder if they're a thing. And I'm here to say, all right, that's a thing. So we should back off a little.
There's that pulsating tension.
Give it a little bit of room.
See, it doesn't matter. It comes right through.
There it is.
Comes right through your television screen.
Oh, I like it. It's my fault. Okay, I'll wear it. I'll wear it fine.
I got nothing. All right.
I gotta go.
When we
good,
come back,
it was fun.
when we come back,
later.
we're gonna talk Watchmen season 2. Alas, there is none. When we return. Check out the all-new Sire Studios website, SireStudiosInc.com. Find all your back issues for The Sire, Mainstream, Undone, and more. And be on the lookout for news and announcements, convention appearances, and brand new podcasts coming to Sire Studios. That address again is SireStudiosInc.com. Welcome back to Secrets of the Sire, talking comics, movies, TV, and pop culture. I want to reach out to our patrons. Go to patreon.com/Secrets of the Sire. That address will be changing very soon to Sire Studios. But we want to thank dedicated fans Tom Osa, Craig Caruso, Einar Peterson, Matt Beyer, Omar Morales, Brian Phillips, our program director Stephanie Dolce, and as always, our Uber fan Christina Dolce. Go support us on patreon.com/Secrets of the Sire. Mr. Pat Shan, writer extraordinaire, is our guest tonight. He is our guest co-host, I guess, whatever we want to call you. Our Tom Hanks, our Alec Baldwin.
Wow.
Give our audience out there just a taste of some of the stuff that you've got going on right now. I'm
launching a Kickstarter on February 4th for the 4th volume of my series Destiny New York. I'm like 2 volumes behind. I'm still reading volume 2, and it's me thing, not a you thing. I've been reading it and putting it down and reading it and putting it down, and I got to catch up. I have volume 3 sitting there as well. Well, for those who are trying to catch up on the whole series, we'll have options to buy the entire series there.
There you go.
I'm going to have stuff to announce. A new Black Mask book coming out later on this year.
Very cool.
And some.
Is that going to be creator owned, or are you being commissioned to do so? That's great, man. All right.
Thanks. Thank you.
That's what we got. All right. Big thing that came out this past week. Everything kind of came out like right after our show ended last week, but either way, HBO will not pursue a second season of Watchmen after the creators bow out. Or the creator bows out. This is coming from USA Today. Watchmen won a loyal following and critical acclaim as the superhero comic series was adapted into a politically relevant drama about race in the criminal justice system. But don't look for a second season, which wrapped up its 9-episode run last month, largely because Damon Lindelof isn't interested in doing it. HBO programming chief Casey Bloys told USA Today Wednesday that Lindelof, co-creator of ABC's Lost, and also created HBO's The Leftovers, brilliantly took this graphic novel and just kind of broke it open, created a whole new world. It's really in Damon's thinking about what he wants to do. If there's an idea that excited him for another season, maybe like a Fargo or a True Detective, or if he wants to do something different altogether, we're very proud of Watchmen. What I'm most interested in is what Damon wants to do. And that answer is in nothing, because Lindelof also told USA Today he has no interest in a second season, though he's given his blessing should HBO want to pursue it on their own. Blois conceded that's unlikely to happen. It would be hard to imagine doing it without Damon involved in some way. Pat, did you? We unprecedentedly covered every single episode of Watchmen of this every week because it was, honestly, it was funny. That first episode was it really brought you into it, and then by like episode 2 or 3, we're kind of like, oh, I don't know, but we're gonna commit to this 9-episode run, and people really seem to dig it. I mean, people really were intrigued and interested. Now, is that something you consumed at all? Did you consume Watchmen?
Not yet, but it's one that I wanted to wait. I wanted to see it to completion. I wanted to see it all in one go. So I would have waited had I found out that it was going to be more than one season till it was over. But now that it's one season, I can kind of dive in. I'm a big fan of Damon Lindelof. I enjoy Watchmen. And his previous shows were both 2 of my favorites of all time. So,
Did you manage to get to be spoiler free about this? About anything on HBO, or are you aware of some of the stuff that's kind of going on?
I know some of the stuff, but I don't know enough about these new characters to really connect any of the dots. So I'm going in mostly fresh.
Now, Hassan, I'm going to ask a question on his behalf. Why are you a fan of Damon Lindelof?
Oh, because he made 2 of the best shows of all time. I already know Hassan enough through our conversations to know that he wouldn't like or understand Lost or appreciate The Leftovers, right? We have different tastes there as far as those two go. If you're not gonna like,
I love Lost. I'm a big Lost fan, and I understood why in the middle of Lost everyone got turned off, but it was for the exact reason when network television back then was like, no, we're going to keep you on as long as humanly possible, and Damon Lindelof and Carlton Cuse are like, well, we don't know how to tell the story because we don't know when it's going to end.
Right.
So I forgive like that middle of season 3 when they kind of were, walking around aimlessly.
I'm surprised you do because you
for 27 episodes.
It wasn't for 27 episodes. I mean, it once they had an end date, I thought every week was answering questions, asking new ones, but leading somewhere, whether you like it or not.
Yeah, there's more character work in the dullest season of Lost than the entirety of Star Wars times 10. But I will say, I am surprised and delighted that you stuck with it because I know that you like you have a low patience for shows that kind of like jump the shark or stray from the initial concept sometimes. So Lost definitely did that many times. There are definite points in Lost where I can see them losing people, even though I think that they shouldn't be lost. Especially because
I see what you did there. Oh my God!
I see what you did there.
Seriously.
Especially because it was in a time where you couldn't binge it. It would be a much different story if it was a binge era series. But think about it. We watched that series back then, not knowing what was going on until the end of each season. So it's kind of crazy. But yeah.
Hassan, were you a Lostie? You don't like Lost at all. You don't like Lindelof. Period. Right? Lindelof and Abrams.
No, combined. I mean I was with it for a little while. I was with it until I think season 2.
Season 2. That's the beginning.
Season 2 or 3 because I got into it late because I don't trust network television.
Yeah,
I don't like mystery TV shows because I don't think they'll be on long enough for you to learn the mystery. And and you just get burned, so you just get into it and then you get burned. You find out it's being canceled. Everybody starts a letter campaign and nothing works and then it just goes away. And then maybe if you're lucky, sometimes it gets picked up by a streaming service or something like that or some other, but it usually doesn't happen, especially back then.
Yeah, back then it was nothing.
In the early aughts, it was not happening. So I took a while to get into it. Everybody was getting into it. So it was a little difficult to avoid after a while. I got out of it when they opened that hatch and they kept that cliffhanger for 4 weeks. Like there was they opened the hatch and then the next episode they did the same day from someone else's perspective.
Oh yeah,
and it ended and they opened the hatch again. And then the next episode they did it from someone else's perspective and then they ended and opened the hatch again. And I was like, I'm done.
What's in the hatch? What's in the hatch?
And I mean, like, and I don't think I bailed on the being enamored with it. I bailed on the majesty of the show. I stuck with it a little while longer when they went into the hatch. They realized he had to press his button to save the world. Blah blah blah. I think also when Michelle Rodriguez, they made a big deal of her character, whatever, but she was being such a pain in the butt that they killed her off, and then they killed off, they killed off the other girl who was with her.
A little off the screen drama with them.
And I was like, oh my god, that's like it, and it kind of had this. It kind of started to develop this thing that was later mastered by Walking Dead, where it's like everything is so fluid that you just can't. There's no running narrative. It's just event every week. Like, this is going to be an event. This is going to be an event. This is going to be an event. And if you're not into the event of the week on your show with no through line and no narrative, then you're not going to be. I'm one of those people. If I can't hold on to the characters, I can't hold on to anything in the show, because the premise is, and they also lie. Because around season 2, they were like, everybody's dead. They all died in the plane crash.
Yeah.
Like, give us a break. Come on. We know they all died in it. And Lindelof, everybody else was like, nope, that's not how it ends.
Wait, no, but they didn't, though. That's not what happens.
It's kind of what happened.
No, it's not at all what happens, though. That's not the end. Yeah, that's just not the ending. Yeah, no, that's just not the ending.
What's the ending, then? I don't give a damn about anybody who hasn't seen Lost. What's the ending?
I said spoiler. You can do whatever you want now. So it's their fault now.
You said it. You said it a little late, though.
15 years later.
What's the ending?
All right, so the reason that many people think that they died in the plane crash is because the final season uses a flash-forward device that has the characters in a limbo-type scenario where they all meet in the afterlife. However, everything on the island happened. In fact,
yes.
In the final episode, someone says, everything that happened.
Yes.
Everything. So these characters.
So what was all that stuff then? What was the island? What was the smoke monster? Who were the others? What was everything? What was Dharma?
I mean, just dude, watch the show. No,
I will not watch the show. But you're telling me it's a great show. You can't condense it. You can't put it into.
You just asked me.
It was the Battle of Good and Evil. The Battle of Good and Evil was what the island is. Right, and the last season was actually, as Pat had mentioned, was that it wasn't that they died in the plane or died in the island. It was whenever you die, you end up going to this purgatory where you end up with the people you love or the people that you've had the most impact in each other's lives, and you meet in the afterlife. And that was essentially what the last season was. I didn't love the last season.
But the last season, they all ended up dead.
Yeah, because everyone eventually dies.
Yeah, no, but you don't see them all
eventually die. I'll keep going on, but eventually everyone dies, and you. So it's like take the most impactful part of your life, and that's who you end up with in the afterlife.
Okay,
it's their interpretation.
Hang on. Let me ask you this question:
Mm-hmm.
What was the point of the story? What was the point of Lost?
It was a battle of good and evil. Took place in the island.
I mean, what's the point of?
But how did? No, we're talking about Lost. Why are you trying to? What? No. About isms.
No, that's my answer. It's the same story.
How did they combat evil? How did the good combat the evil?
The good.
Then I'd have to go remember that now.
The good.
I know they beat him at the end.
Because I know how the good combats evil in Star Wars. If you want to ask me a question. So how did the good combat the evil if it's a story about good and evil?
It's essentially two forces, one of good and one of evil, and the good is attempting to put people in situations with the evil to prove that they will still in the end choose the way of the light.
Yeah, I agree. That jives with my memory.
And some do and some don't. And then those who do and don't end up...
And they have to crash on this island in order to be part of this this epic, this titanic clash between good and evil.
Yeah, they're drawn there, yeah.
They're drawn there to be...
Yeah.
Well, you're not really drawn to the island if you crash.
No,
That's not
No,
being
but
drawn.
the plane was.
they were drawn there.
Yeah.
They were all selected beforehand.
Let me try to rein this in
Nonsense.
for a second.
I
Are
thought
we
it was
bummed?
nonsense.
Are we bummed that there's not a season 2 of Watchmen?
No.
Personally, no. I mean, I like that it's
Because you haven't seen it.
right. No, but I have a reason. I like that it's one and done. You know, I like the idea that a creator can look at something and go, "That's the end of the story. I'm not going to greedily ask for more, even though I can have more because I don't have an idea. I want this to be the end." And there is a certain grace in that.
You know, it's funny because I threw this out on Facebook too, and I got like a mix of answers. Like, part of me is I'm kind of split on it. I actually agree with you, Pat, that it's kind of neat. He can kind of just come in and tell a story and leave, and the network will respect that and say, okay, we're good with that too, even though this was our most watched TV show since Game of Thrones.
7 million people per episode.
Yeah,
So that was, you know.
Look,
That's great
Dave,
numbers.
let me throw out a name. Dave Lasnik, friend of the show. He's a friend of mine. He's been supporting our show since day one on the podcast. He's a lawyer in Stamford, Connecticut. Has no comic book background. Just recently binged the entire season. He actually kind of gave us. He's like, I have no idea what's going on, but I love it. And literally, he's like, there's so much more to this. I can tell. I don't know what it is. I still don't know really what's going on, but he was riveted every single episode. So even the layman who doesn't necessarily have the comic book background was really into it. So it does take a lot to even pull, that, out. The other part of me is like, you know what? I haven't been waiting for a Watchmen, but he didn't mess it up. Like, he didn't actually mess up the greatest graphic novel of all time by doing this sequel. So,
yeah,
to me, it's like,
I don't think Pat agrees it's the greatest.
No, Pat also likes Age of Ultron. I mean, how does where does the context?
See, another hot take. That was not even
Watchmen's
difficult to. That wasn't even hard to instigate. Holy crap!
Chris Marino.
I'm not going to go into that one, but Watchmen is great. It's great, but I mean, you can't casually just call it the greatest of all time.
I didn't casually. I announced it that it is the greatest one. Chris Marino, just like how for 25 years we were not bummed there was no Watchmen Volume 2, so no. A lot of no's. Then we got a flurry of yeses. Jordan Elizabeth Gelber, yes, but that's why there shouldn't be a season 2. Chris Sula, friend of the show, yes, but I like the way it ended, so I'll accept it as is. Dennis Calero, another friend of the show, a really great comic book creator himself. I'd rather it end on a high note of the writer. Doesn't genuinely have any good ideas to move the story forward. Andre Brooks actually came in and said, yes, I hope Regina King pushes something to happen. So mixed review in terms of whether people are bummed or not. It seemed like most people are like, nah, we're good. They either didn't like it or they loved it and they're good with it.
Yeah, I think it's strong. I think it has a strong ending. I think it stuck its landing. I think it's ironic that it's something that everybody universally agrees was well done for Lindelof, who does have a reputation. For some of his shows, they have really bad endings. I know he was on a podcast I was listening to a couple of weeks ago where they actually talked about it. Like, yeah, this is really well received for you. I mean, I don't think they emphasized for you, but they were talking about how well received it was. It was doing really well, and so it's ironic that this is the one he doesn't want to get another bite of the apple for.
Hey, I think it's get in, get out, right?
Yeah, I respect him for deciding. Look, I told the story I wanted to tell. He is going out on a high note. The show is well received. It was done really well. People are actually upset. They're not going to come back. It was not ignominiously canceled. It was not stopped short before the story got a chance to tell itself. It was a one and done. We don't understand that anymore because even our movies are serialized. Yeah. So there's always going to be another one and another one and another one. So I don't think I think we now have to get used to this mentality of sometimes there's only one. Sometimes you only get one really good Highlander movie, and they shouldn't have made the other ones because if you had stopped there, it would have been a classic. But now it's kind of tainted by these 4 or 5 other, or The Crow. Remember The Crow? If they had left The Crow alone, let The Crow.
I mean, there's so many movies.
Yeah, if people are. I think, and I don't hold it against them. People are kind of, wondering what to do after easily giving up 8 years of their lives to Game of Thrones or or Dexter or some of these other shows where there's this long-running, long-form storytelling, kind of situation happening. The fact that he's going to leave it, and he left it. Spoiler alert! Well, not really a spoiler, but he kind of it has an ambiguous ending. So it's an ambiguous ending that works just fine. So it's kind of a finger to everybody who wants this, who wants this endless middle, this endless content to grind into the ground.
Yeah.
But it's also kind of a victory lap for him to decide that he's gonna, I want to find something else to do. So I don't begrudge him. I'm glad he's not gonna have the opportunity to ruin it. Not to say that he would have, but I'm just saying I'm glad he's not going to keep going with it, and I'm fine with it.
Real quick, if you've got to rank the Lindelof shows, let's say Leftovers, Watchmen, Lost, am I leaving anything out that he's done that is of any significance that we should rank?
No. Yeah.
Put those in order. I'll go mine first. I'll say Lost, then Watchmen, then Leftovers.
I would say Watchmen, then Lost, then Leftovers. Let's have Pat answer before I go in. I was about to say
I mean, dude, it's hard to answer,
No, it's not.
No, yeah, it is.
No, it's not.
I mean, it might be. No, I mean, if you have your brain, it could be easy to come to if you have a much more advanced brain, you might.
How dare you
struggle? You might struggle. But I mean, honestly, for me, Lost and Leftovers are both equal. Leftovers is shorter, so you have less character payoff, but it's perfect. Lost is longer and flawed, but the payoff is higher, even though the low points are lower. It would take Watchmen the series to be much better than Watchmen the graphic novel, which is already very, very good for me to rank it as equal or higher.
The series is not better. I don't think you could get better than that graphic novel. I know that wasn't his goal. Also, continuation of the novel. Here's the thing: the reason I didn't get into the Left Behind or Leftovers or Turkey Dinner or whatever the heck.
Wait, hey, dude, have you seen it? Have you seen the show?
No, I'm about to explain it.
I caught the first 2 episodes.
Whoa! So you're ranking a show that you haven't seen. And
what did I say, Pat? What did I say, Pat? You're not even listening. I said I have to rank it last because I haven't seen it.
I just love it because that's usually
get your beard out of your hair, out of your ears. Get your beard out of your ears.
I can't even fathom growing a beard like that. Like I feel
you can't rank it last. You gotta unlist it. Watchmen for me.
No, I can't. No. You know why it's ranked last? I'll explain why. Because when it was premiering, HBO said the 2 people in HBO said, "Hey, Damon, do you know why all these people disappeared? Do you know what is behind it without giving it away?" And he said, "My hope is that the drama would be so good that nobody will remember that all the people disappeared in the first place and that we won't have to address it."
Okay.
F you, storyteller. F you for not knowing. No. That's not even a good a good storyteller would say. Any normal storyteller would be like, "Of course I know where it's gonna go. Of course I'm not telling you, but of course I know where it's gonna go." No, liar. That's A. B. How do you write a story and not know how it ends? Stop it.
Okay. I will say this.
Stop it.
I will say this, you non-writing ass gentleman. Okay.
That
is so not how it works. That's so not how it works.
It is. I do believe it is how it works.
That is the central mystery of the story. That is the premise. You don't even have to resolve that at all. Does it resolve in the end?
The central mystery of your story doesn't have to be resolved.
I said
you're saying,
mystery.
Huh?
I said if you listen,
it's the number one premise of the story of how everybody of the people who disappeared.
Correct.
It's the number one premise.
Hey, do you want to hear an answer or not?
Well, you're the one who was interrupting me, so I was,
That is not.
I just I don't have to do anything, which is fantastic.
That is not the truth.
I'm just paying you back in kind.
Listen. listen. That is not the central mystery. It's the premise. Hey, okay, I'm done. You are the most interrupting ass dude I've ever met, dude.
Let us know.
I've never seen someone think so highly of such small thought.
Rank
okay.
your own Lindelof
Those are ad
shows.
homonems. He's throwing ad homonems at me.
Hey,
I don't know what's that about.
Throw it in the Facebook feed. Rank your Lindelof shows. I'm sure we missed a few. Throw it in the Facebook feed. We will comment on the Facebook
Tell us
feed
why number 3 is leftovers.
When we come back, the comic book movie no one is talking about, and I don't think it bodes well for the film when we come back. I'm everything my 19-year-old self fought hard to not be.
Yes, you are the...
Like 19-year-old self is like,
you've become what you hate. You've become the enemy.
19-year-old self, don't sell out. 39-year-old self is like...
Sell out every night.
Out. Like, sell it out, baby.
First sign of trouble, sell out.
Welcome back to Secrets of the Sire, or as I like to call it, Pat Shand, Hassan Godwin, and only one will walk away. Mr. Pat Shand is a writer extraordinaire. He is guest hosting with us, or guest co-hosting with us. Hassan is guest living in this bubble that I brought him into.
Wow.
Which is the Secrets of the Sire.
I was like, he said I wasn't a writer. That's funny.
Well, he is. He's never written it.
Hey, no, I said that. I said that because you were speaking objectively about a writer who had an idea that you disagreed with. Okay, that idea is that
I'm allowed. I'm totally allowed to think that is a horse shit way of answering that question. I'm totally allowed. He said F before, and you didn't bing him, so you shut up, Dolphin.
I missed him. No,
yeah, you shut it.
He said ass. Bing.
He said F. He said that.
Did he really?
Yeah, he said the monster word.
What do I got to do? I got to host the show. I got to moderate the show, and I got to be the censor.
I was just saying.
I would prefer someone to start counting the interruptions, though.
That's actually the name of a good show. All right, let's move on to something really fast. We don't have to spend too much time on this because I think outside of myself, I don't think either of you guys have seen this. Bloodshot trailer, not only the first Bloodshot trailer, but the second one recently debuted. Bloodshot is based off the popular Valiant comic. We're friends of the show. We had Lisa Hawkins, editor over there right now, and she's been on a few times as well. And this is, if I were to tell you like a movie starring Vin Diesel, who's like box office gold, comic book movie, based off of a very popular character. It debuted not a single, it's not trending on Twitter. It's not, it was literally one of those things like I had to stumble across it and go, oh my gosh.
The first one trended though. The first one caused a little bit of a, yeah. I remember seeing a lot of people talking about it.
Well, that's good. Yeah. That's good then, because quite frankly, the second one dropped and not a peep.
No, that's a problem. That's definitely a problem. No.
So we usually do, and Pat knows this because he's been on. We do our trailer Truth or Trash. We can't even lead with this trailer because no one's talking about it. More people talked about the fact that a New Mutants trailer even came out after that movie was reportedly so bad that that Disney wasn't even going to air it. In theaters at one point, people started going crazy over that. No one's talking about this. Pat, have you seen any of the trailers for Bloodshot? Do you know of Bloodshot, the character?
No. I've heard of him, but and I hate to say this because I know of Hassan's fondness for Valiant, but I have never read a book by Valiant besides the ones that my friends have written. I'm not really aware of their universe.
Yeah.
I see them, I wish them luck in having their properties cross over from comics to film. If they do, that'll probably blow their IPs up a little bit,
Let me tell you, the trailer was actually really good, and I don't know if it's there have been so many reinterpretations of Bloodshot since the original one came out that one person said to me like, "Oh, that's not the Bloodshot that I remember," but he's been kind of reinvented so many times that to me, that it doesn't matter. It's just it's the look, it's the character. I think Vin Diesel is actually a pretty good representation of the character. And again, the trailer itself looks like, I mean, even just on the surface of being a pretty good looking, like ass kicking bing action movie.
Yeah,
it looks good, but no one's talking about it. Like no one's talking about it. I don't know. I mean, Hassan, what's your trailer truth or trash over under prediction for the movie itself? Like, is it gonna? I mean, are we looking at a straight to video, or are we looking at a sleeper hit? I mean,
I don't think it'll be straight to video. I think it will do relatively well.
Are we looking at Hellboy Part 2 right now? Like another incarnation of the recent incarnation of Hellboy, which did not go over very well. So I was asking you, Hassan.
I just said no. I think it will do relatively well.
What's relatively well? 20 million opening weekend? What's Atomic Blonde? Atomic Blonde was based off a comic book, and it did like 18 or 19 million in the opening weekend, and that was, considered like a hit for the budget and kind of the expectations.
Yeah.
Are we looking around that same?
Maybe so. I think that'd be reasonable, considering it's not Spider-Man. It's not super well known, and it's not in the MCU.
Right. It also doesn't scream superhero because it's not. I mean, it's more superhuman.
Yeah, but I mean, you got a good chance because Vin Diesel's in it, and that'll be that'll get him over. I mean, who knows? His vehicles outside of Fast and Furious haven't been that super stellar.
No.
Including Riddick.
Yeah.
But I mean, they would have been better off with The Rock because he can seem to carry franchises outside of whatever main franchise he's in.
I'd go see a Rock movie just because it's the Rock. Like, I mean, what was the one where he's climbing skyscraper? I'm just like, I didn't go see it, but I'm like, I'm like, it's the Rock. Like, if I did go see it, I would probably enjoy it, even though it's.
And I know there's a rivalry between Diesel and The Rock, so I don't mean to kick that off. What I'm basically saying is, I think he's got enough star power, and it's a superhero comic book that's fairly known, and it's currently out, so it's not even an issue that's being resurrected. It's not a property that's being. So, I think it's got a good chance to do maybe 20, 30 on the opening weekend, and then maybe that'll boost it to getting a sequel or whatever, and you can make something stronger out of it. You're right. The secondary launch, it seems like it was being buried. It
wasn't even in. And it's funny. It was one of those things where. So I found that great graphic that we used on I think it was either last week's show or the show before, where Movie Film on Instagram put together all the movies coming out, the big ones, and it wasn't on it. And I mean, they have some of the ones where I'm like, it's questionable at best, kind of thing. And I don't know. I'm thinking under 20. Pat, if you had an over and under opening weekend.
Man, it's hard to say because I don't know the property. I don't know how many people know it, so I don't really have a strong opinion. I mean, it's probably going to bomb because
I don't have a strong opinion. It's terrible.
No. Because we're in an era where superhero movies are the norm, and this isn't that known of a superhero. But if we were doing this like in 2001, it would probably be that weekend's big hit, But I don't really know. I don't know.
If you over under 20 million, what do you think? Give me a. I will not hold you to it.
Under for sure, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure how much under. I'm not sure. I mean, it'll probably be the only one, but who knows? I really don't know. That's just me throwing something out there for you guys.
Don't throw anything at me.
I'm going to approximate 13 million in its opening weekend. Like that's this like long range.
Which yeah, sucks. But I mean,
which actually sucks. No, it just sucks. I mean, because it's like you want the beauty of a character like that doing well kind of opens the door for the rest of us who are making.
I don't think you think it sucks.
What do you mean?
I don't think you think it sucks.
I do actually. Like I'm pulling for it. I'd like it.
I think if you thought it sucked, your attitude would be, why the heck are they burying it like this? Instead of predicting how little it's going to make.
You could do both.
That's a completely different state of play.
No, you could
right
do
there.
both. You could actually.
But
My opinion is, I think
like,
it's gonna. I don't think it's gonna do well, and that's unfortunate. I feel bad. I want it to do well. But I'm saying if I had to make a prediction, that's my prediction. That's
why would you predict a negative though?
Because I'm a realist. That's what I'm saying. Look, it's not all the world is not all sunshine and roses here. You know, I mean,
I'm not saying that you shouldn't. I just think it's a weird track to take if you're supporting the film. You know, that you think it's going to do very poorly.
Maybe I'm trying to will it to do well by telling everyone it's going to do so poor.
I mean, it's not negative if he's just saying, I think it'll do poor. He's not saying, I hope it'll do poor.
Exactly.
Well, in the sense that we never do like box office predictions. So that's a new track for us.
Oh, okay.
You know?
That's not true.
So,
we've done it. We've done it with Jeff Gomez on.
Very rarely do. Yeah, and we let him do it. You and I don't do it. You know, so it's just kind of like a weird like aside that, you know.
Yeah.
My personal opinion. Yeah.
I mean, New Mutants is going to come. Right?
New Mutants?
Supposedly, but I mean, there's a possibility it won't.
I think
it got a little bit of buzz when it popped out. So
That's true.
But there's a possibility. And then if they're saying if it does do well, then it will be incorporated into the MCU.
Yep.
If it doesn't, it'll stay outside of it. Yeah.
Yep.
That's weird that they're pulling in things now, because I noticed in Venom they're like trying to pull not Venom. What the hell was it? Jared Leto.
Morbius.
Yeah. Morbius. Yeah. They're trying to pull it in now. Yeah. I wondered how much of that is Sony kind of leveraging Spider-Man against Marvel, you know, because Marvel doesn't want that shit. You know, there was that.
Oh yeah.
Bing.
Bing. See? There we go.
Wait, can we not curse though? Or?
No, we can. We just like making people uncomfortable.
He likes being obnoxious.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, there was I forget when it was, but there was a conversation between Amy Pascal, I think, from Sony, and Kevin Feige from Marvel. Yeah, and Amy was talking about how that they were going to make all the Sony properties tie into the MCU, and you just see Kevin sitting there uncomfortable as hell. And then the next day they announced, actually, that wasn't true at all. You know, so it seems like Sony was like, you know what, we'll take Spider-Man until you make that true.
Yeah.
But so who knows?
Well, they were talking about like how Sony was in pretty bad shape for a while, for a long time, even with Venom. Because they lost so many things. They lost they lost a couple of properties. And they out of sorts with James Bond. There's a bunch of things that just kind of didn't go well for them. Yeah. And then they're talking about like the good thing about the Bad Boys movie doing well this weekend, which made almost like $60 million over the weekend. And
good for Will
Smith. A couple of other things. Yeah, I mean, he needed it after Gemini Man.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he did really good with Aladdin, but then he had Gemini Man, so of course that skewed his figures. So now this is putting him back.
Isn't it amazing too? Though, I mean, he was box office gold for so many years. I mean, there was not it was almost just okay. Will Smith movie coming out, it's going to be amazing, and just kind of disappearing for a little while. And then aging into a different, kind of bracket where the next generation doesn't know Will Smith. Yeah. It's amazing to think like, boy, he really needed this. He really needed, but he did. Like he did. He needed it.
That's weird. I am happy for him too. Actually, I was thinking that because, he's been. I don't know. I have always seen him as that. I've seen him as The Rock. Right. I would go to see. I mean, dude, I saw Hancock. I would have seen Hancock 2 in theaters.
Yeah.
Come on, dude. I mean, to me, Will Smith is just no matter what he's in, it's entertaining. And I mean, did I see Gemini Man? No. But am I sad that it's getting kind of shat on? Yeah, man.
Yeah. That's a half bing. All right.
Supposedly it was like a very 90s movie, and that's one of the reasons it just the tropes didn't play in modern. And it was also supposedly ultra HD, so they could only play it in certain theaters. It was like a lot of stuff that went.
A lot of things working against it.
Yeah,
that's weird.
Working against it. Yeah. All right, when we come back, we go spinning the racks. Welcome back to Secrets of the Sire. I want to thank our guest, Mr. Pat Shand, who is guest spotting in his usual role as a Alec Baldwin / Tom Hanks. This is officially your 4th show, by the way. I just want to let you know.
Hey, dude.
You've made it.
Okay.
You've made it to 4.
No way.
You mean 400th.
Oh,
This is 400th.
I am joking that I've been on so many times, but I have for sure been on at least 8 times. And that's, dude, that's
It doesn't count twice. The beard does not count as a separate person.
I was on the phone.
You doubled your just by your beard.
I was on the phone once. I was in the other studio at least 3 times, and I was in the latest studio maybe once or twice.
Okay.
Hey, dude, I remember.
That's more than 4.
Inaccurate. All right.
Oh,
we do this every week.
The 2 of you.
We go spinning the racks.
Spin the rack, spin that rack.
Image Comics publisher. There are way too many books for comic stores to handle. This is coming off of a wonderful article, which I did not source in my little notes here. But one of the big problems. Oh, Newsarama. Sorry, it's from Chris Arent from Newsarama. I knew there was a reason why I didn't even source it. Chris Arent, friend of the show, who's been on at least 8 times. One of the big problems facing the comic industry is way too many books, according to Image Comics publisher Eric Stevenson. Comic book stores can't keep up with ordering them. There's just too much to keep track of. And if a specialty market catering to this specific type of content is overwhelmed, that's definitely going to be an issue for other sales channels. Worse, it's going to trickle down to readers because at $4 and $5 an issue, that limits the number of comics someone can reasonably afford within a single month or every month. Pat, you've kind of started your own business just doing Kickstarters. I mean, almost to the point where how big is the retailer to you right now in terms of your income?
My income,
Like making comics.
You know, it's complicated because in the direct market, I still do work for hire, and
that's what I'm asking. No, that's what I'm asking. Like, just percentage-wise, direct market. How much direct market stuff are you doing in the books that you do? In terms of like, is it 30%, 50%? You know?
Oh yeah, I'm a 25% direct market, 75% solo dolo. Yeah.
Yeah, through Kickstarter, right? I mean, that's the business model going forward. We're talking to a publisher right now, and I'm telling him my long range plans. I said, yeah, I want to get into stores. And he goes, why? Like, that was his big question. Like, the first question out of his mouth is, why would you? He said, I don't understand. Why would you even want to bother with that? He's like, you can't make any money making comics. I said, well, yeah, well, welcome to comic books. But through Kickstarter and direct, direct to consumer, I feel like you absolutely can. And I feel like the comic book retailer just has so many things working like against it. And this is just another example. Hassan, you and I were all talking, off air, and this is almost like the streaming stuff. That's just too much content out there, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's pretty much the same thing. It's like, it seems like it's a bubble that's going to burst soon, is what I was saying.
Mm-hmm.
It's because if there's too much stuff, if there's a glut it doesn't seem like anybody is suffering. That's the strange thing. Like, everybody's getting paid for the content. The content is out there.
Mm-hmm.
The content is getting it's getting recognized, it's getting noticed, but a lot of people are just complaining that there's just too much stuff to concentrate on.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if that's gonna inspire a glut of apathy in the readership and in the viewership, to the point where they just kind of withdraw from everything. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Because distraction is the name of the game. That is the hallmark. That is the pastime of our society. Is it's being entertained. So I don't know if it would exactly happen, but it can't. It's not infinite. You can't have too much content forever. Something's got to give.
Well, it's funny because Stevenson actually kind of goes on, over the course of 2019, we've launched fewer books, like a third less. We're planning to continue that going into this year, because we saw positive results from thinning the line over the course of this year. I say it all the time, though, too. I don't,
But to clarify, they're not cutting back because they're not getting sales. They're cutting back because they're getting a more of a positive reaction to fewer books. right?
I
This
think
is
they're
kinda-
probably getting more sales from
From
higher sales from less books than
So
flooding.
this
the
is a
market.
different spin on like the. I mean, back in the '90s when the comics took a bad turn, you know, it was just they were talking about like the industry was over. You know, nobody's reading comic books anymore. Now, this new perspective is that there are too many comics, so we have to stop making them because there's too much.
Yeah.
That's an interesting way of putting of explaining how you're going to be, you know, retracting the market.
Well, it's addition by subtraction, right? I mean, it's almost you know,
If that's what it is.
if you're flooding the market with stuff. He was talking about like the science fiction genre. He says that we're doing too much in this or that you almost kind of get lost. You know, you don't really stand out. I mean, Pat, the nice thing about your books in general, though, too, is you, especially your creator-owned Kickstarter stuff, is you kind of narrow in on a niche in terms of like a certain audience appeal to it. So I think it's very distinctive, the stuff that you do, and you kind of build off of all the different titles that you have. So it's actually easier to identify like what's a Pat Chan book, you know?
Yeah, I mean, one, thank you, because that is what I aim for. But two, I do want to kind of expound on what you guys are saying, because I do think I mean, personally, from my friends in comics, I already am hearing what you guys are saying, that people don't read comics anymore, that there is a crash happening, not soon, but now, and that a lot of these companies that seem to be thriving and doing okay are going to have investors pull out, are going to kind of go away soon, you know? And it's a scary time to live in. It's a scary time to be looking for work for hire, which is also one of my main motivations in sort of removing the necessity of work for hire work, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's a scary time as far as that goes. Yeah.
It's interesting too, because Kickstarter is like one of the top ways that comic book creators actually make money. I think it's like one of the top distribution platforms in terms of like comics. Graphic novels, though, are actually up. I mean, you have like the major publishing, the major publishing companies who are, you know, racking it in sales wise. It's tough, I think, after a while too, of like, you know, how many times can you see X-Men be rebooted to get excited to want to go to comic book stores? And I just think comic book stores in general, though, too, they have to pivot, you know, in order to survive. And it's
different forces are keeping each other back. There are certain people who are just collectors who always want the single issue to be the main way of our industry. But the truth is, my hope is that that the industry turns an eye toward what Scholastic is doing with graphics. One of the best-selling series of books this year, and last year and the year before, are all the graphic novels, and I'm going to get her name wrong, that are put out by Raina Tagelmeyer. Smile.
Yeah. Yep. Chris Aaron has mentioned her many times, actually.
Oh, yeah. All those books outperform everything.
He also has a big beard.
Oh, he does?
Oh, yeah.
Hey, it's Beard Gang, dude, you know? All of those books outperform what the industry is doing traditionally. So I think it is time to look toward the graphic novel. And I think it goes down to certain things, too, as far as and this is going to sound silly, but I think that Archaea had a cool idea back in the day when they were diversifying the shape of the books. They were big, chunky hardcovers, some square, some oversized. I think that people still care about physical product, and we're asking them to, even though the single issue is not a very interesting physical product, you know?
Yeah.
And we're in a binge era, and we're asking people to read 20 pages of an already breezy story once a month, dude. Come on. Yeah. That's kind of crazy.
Well, that's funny. My Kickstarter model for this year is going to be release the first issue, and then the very next Kickstarter is going to be, then it's the graphic novel version of it.
What you do, man, for sure.
I feel like first issue, there's still a novelty to a first issue. And then at that point, it's like, okay, let's just finish the story so that everyone kind of gets the story. And this way you can kind of have both. And with print on demand too, I mean, you can kind of, I mean, if people really want the floppies, I mean, you could print up a couple copies of floppies, and it's not going to set your budget back. We got really nerdy here. We're comic book nerds at heart. Mr. Pat Chan, I want to thank you again for returning for the 870th time, even though
thank you, sir.
Episode 205. Go check out all his stuff. Where can you find where can we find all of your awesome stuff?
You find me at Pat Shan. My podcast is The Space Between Podcasts. I have a new Kickstarter launching for Destiny New York Volume 4 on February 4th. And yeah, dude, I'm going to tell you guys this. After this is done, not tonight because I don't care that much, but I care a little bit. I'm going to look back in the past. I'm going to count my appearances. And I would bet you, I would bet you $7 that it's at least 6. Dude.
At least 6?
That's serious money.
At least 6.
Serious money.
At least.
7.
I'll take that bet. I'll take that bet.
You know what? Count me in.
Hey, boom.
Count me in.
777.
777. Let's do it.
That is half a beer. That is half a beer each when we go to the city.
Yes.
Mike is saying I've been on 4. I'm saying at least 6. Hassan, what do you think?
I would say somewhere like maybe 5.
All right.
I would average it out.
All right. This will be what is it? Price is Right style too.
Boom. Let's go.
Who's betting $1? All right. Next week we're gonna dive a little deeper into the Oscars because they're coming up. Joaquin Phoenix is cleaning up the awards. Is he gonna take home the award for Joker? Do we have another Joker Oscar? And probably some trailer will come out. We'll see you guys next week.